I saw your comments in my social media feeds, and you guys want me to analyze the Ekiti election that just happened yesterday, Saturday, June 18th, and the results have come out on Sunday, that's today, June 19, 2022. And then obviously, the candidate of the All Progressive Congress, Biodun Oyebanji, has won with about 187,000 votes. And coming second was Segun Oni, himself a former governor, with about 82,000 votes. Third was the People's Democratic Party with about 67,000 votes. Now, we knew that this election, the PDP wasn't in play, and it was very well suspected that the candidate of the SDP, Segun Oni, was not going to win. You know, the APC is the incumbent in that state, and then they have a very strong candidate. And so you can see that even because when you're campaigning, and this happens not just in Nigeria, it happens in the United States, in the United Kingdom, all over the world where you have strong democracies. You don't spend a lot of money and effort in places that you know that your campaigning will not bring out the desired result, or where your campaigning will be in vain. So you want to spend money where you are more likely to be able to convince people. So we saw that in Ekiti State, you know, it was a state that more or less the PDP had said, okay, we believe that the APC is going to win, so our time is better spent elsewhere. So it was a closely fought battle between the SDP and the APC. Now, the SDP is not really a very strong party, but they had a candidate who had just left the All Progressive Congress. He was in the All Progressive Congress. He was not able to get the ticket, and then because of that rancor, he left, and he was able to draw a lot of support. You know, and then we saw that yes, there were accusations of vote buying. I'm sure Segun Oni or one of the other losing candidates is going to go to court. We saw the videos, but by and large, you know, it was fairly certain that the candidate of the All Progressive Congress was going to win. You know, he is, after all, a popular candidate. I will admit that, even though I'm a supporter of the People's Democratic Party. But then, what do the results of the election tell us? What did they tell us? You see, it shows that, you know, you do need to have some form of structures on the ground. I know it's a word that a lot of people now on social media don't like, structures. You know, they don't want to hear it, they don't want to hear it. But you do need structures on the ground, because you're dealing with a country with a, well, I wouldn't say a low adult literacy rate, but with an adult literacy rate that is not up to the United Nations average. Is not even up to it's not up to 40%, you know, in certain parts of the country. So you need agents on the ground, you know, to help people, to make them understand what's going to happen, to keep them in line, you know, to resist intimidation, and any number of things. You do need agents. Now, what have we seen? 187,000 for the APC, 82,000 for the SDP, 67,000 for the People's Democratic Party. Now, the AAC, which is Omoyele Sowori's party, they had about 442 votes or something like that, above 400. And then we saw with another party, the Labour Party, they had 195 votes. Now, I'm looking at the feedback from a lot of people who support the Labour Party. You know, I'm seeing a lot of them on social media, and they're saying, you know, one of them, and I'm going to quote him, I'm going to speak in pidgin, you know, this, I'm not the one talking, this is this fellow. He said, make una carry una Ekiti go. Now, presidency we want. So a lot of them are focused on the presidency. They focus on the presidency. They say they don't care about the Ekiti elections or any state elections. All they're just focused on is the presidency. Now, the weakness in that argument is because Nigeria has a presidential system. Now, what a lot of people don't understand with the presidential system is how risky it is for the president when he doesn't have supporters in the other arms of government. I'm going to give you an example. You have what they call the National Economic Council. The National Economic Council comprises of the vice president as the chairman and then the 36 state governors. So the function of the National Economic Council is to coordinate the nation's economic direction. So now, if you say you don't care about the gubernatorial elections, all you focus on is the presidency, then you're going to have a president without any member in the National Economic Council besides his vice president. So it's going to be very, very difficult for him to push through his economic agenda. He's going to have people, and this is a constitutional body, so you cannot disband them, you know. So it's going to be very difficult for him. You know, they're going to frustrate him because they don't want him to succeed, so that they can replace him with a member of their party. So when you understand that, then you need to take into account that these elections are important, gubernatorial elections. And then you say, okay, we don't care about Senate and House of Reps elections. Now listen, you need to have your own people in the National Assembly as senators, as members of the House of Representatives, because the Senate and the House together, called the National Assembly, they have the constitutional power to impeach you. And the big mistake people think is that you need to do something bad for you to be impeached. No, you don't have to do something bad for you to be impeached. You can be impeached just because people don't like your face. And we've seen that in Nigeria in 1983 when Balarabe Musa, a very good governor of the People's Redemption Party, was impeached because he did not have control of his own state House of Assembly. So you can be an angel. Christ was the best man that ever lived, and yet he was impeached by his own people who said, give us Barabbas, kill this man. And that's what happened. So even if you have a very good candidate, if you don't have control or at least influence in the National Assembly or in the, you're going to be impeached. And then there's this idea of people saying that, okay, when we get there, when we elect him as president, he's going to make these people in the National Assembly and to cross carpet and join his party. It doesn't really work that way with the kind of democracy we have. You see that with the All Progressive Congress and with the People's Democratic Party, they've got enclaves where they're very, very strong. And a lot of these people who are senators or members of the House of Reps come from this enclave. And if they disappoint their parties or their godfathers, they're not coming back. And they're not fools. Even if you give them all the money in the world and ask them to join, you know, if they're not coming back, they're going to be vulnerable, and they don't want to be vulnerable. So that's why each and every candidate, each and every party has to look down at this, what they call down ticket elections. They are important because if you just focus and say you want to win the presidency, it's going to be very easy for someone to just come and then sweep you off your feet and then you're gone. So I'm analyzing this. 195 votes for Labour Party, that's too paltry. It's too paltry. You know, it's very, very paltry. They need to do something. They need to do something more, because as we've seen in previous elections, the governors generally tend to determine the direction of the votes in their states. Now, my name is Ronald Mokri. If you've watched this, you know, you have questions, you can put them in the comment section of this video and I'll do my best to respond to them. Thank you for watching and God bless you.
But Reno travels all around the world. I hope you get inspired about what you see. Apostle of greatness, Reno is a master. Only one man against the whole world in large. Fighting with the monsters, poverty I can't stand. That's why Reno is